Gorky 17, originally referred to as Odium in Inferior Lands, is a conspiracy simulator game where every single government organization is out to get you, disgusting flesh monsters called Polish people rule the city, and scientifically implausible death rays are not only available, but one of the most common and least effective forms of self-defense. Therefore, I would be safe in saying that Gorky 17 is in fact a video game. It is also Slavic. Polish, to be exact. And with every game that comes out of an ex-Soviet country, it's janky, buggy, blatantly anti-Russian, packed to the lid with weird, gross mutant flesh creatures that have a hankering for your tight little Slavic arse, and takes roughly 45 minutes to optimize it for modern systems. Safe to say, you are in for a ride. Gorky 17 is a combat-focused RPG from Polish game developers Metropolis Software, a no-name developer that made a lot of outdated schlock before getting the license to develop a video game adaptation of The Witcher. Holy shit. They got the license to make a Witcher game in 1997, but they were too stressed out over other projects, so it was shelved. They ended up losing the license to CD Projekt Red before going under, who used the license to make The Witcher 2007. Thank you, Metropolis. Your sacrifice will not be forgotten. Gorky 17 has a plot, but it definitely does not focus on writing or RPG elements or even stats. And it uses a lot of cookie-cutter Slav jank cliches. People with guns go into dangerous wasteland that used to be a city in Eastern Europe, see some dead shit, some not dead shit, some large gross ex-humans that now look like flesh lumps molded by a very psychologically concerning 11-year-old, and a scientifically implausible, fantastically weird slew of sci-fi mumbo-jumbo that the Strugatsky brothers probably would have thought of if they got drunk off of schnapps and scribbled on a craft singles wrapper for 43 minutes. 3 men of diverse and genre-breaking backgrounds are dropped off at Gorky 17, a city in Poland designed to be a training ground for American urban combat. When the new Russian government plans on destroying the city and everything in it as a part of post-Cold War cleanup, NATO calls bullshit and sends a force of 4 people to investigate, called Group 1, who disappear. They then send another 3 people to find the 4 people to find the bullshit the Russian government is trying to get rid of and take it home if possible. Your general goal is to find a lab, but also to find 4 MacGuffins discs to use in that lab in order to stop the endless brutal onslaught of mutated, monstrous, scientifically abominatory civilians that were mutated by whatever the lab was trying to do. Seems easy enough, but for Group 2, one of the most difficult missions begin before they even land. Optimization. Playing this game without a launch assistant like DG Voodoo is going to give your corneas a real workout. So, I don't recommend going in without the recommended lubricant. There are guides to fix these problems and I'll link them below. Except for one minor issue. Yeah, see that there? What happened is that when the game zooms in, the textures disappear, and what you are left with is a disgusting white void that will fuck your eyes up, especially if you play at night. The worst part is the game zooms in on dialogue and luck checks, so half the time I couldn't even prepare when it happened. I just get a flashbang to the fucking face with no warning and no mercy. I have no idea how I did it, but I had never used DG Voodoo before this, so my retarded ass had to have done something. It took me an hour of troubleshooting before I just said fuck it and decided to leave out the flashbangs on this video. Of course, I figured out how to fix it 6 fucking hours into my playthrough. How could I be so stupid? Was I that dumb? Is it my own fault for getting a Steam copy instead of a GOG one because it was cheaper? To all 3, yes. I'll tell you this though. It's the first time in a video game I didn't wish for a positive luck combat bonus. Speaking of bonuses, Gorky 17 keeps the leveling system and statistics small and simple. You get experience every time a character lands a shot, and every level up you get a whopping 5 points to add to your stats that are half based on percentages and half based on certain number values. Exclusive to these character stats is weapon skills. The more you use a weapon, the bigger its level, the more its damage. Repeat. And that's the general gameplay loop with nothing special shoved in between. For the actual statistics, it's even simpler. HP is obvious. Walking speed covers a set amount of tiles in combat. As far as I know, it can't be upgraded, but you're going to wish you could be able to. Luck is your critical hit chance percentage. The bigger the chance, the better the results. A critical hit will give you some breathing room and save ammo. Accuracy is what you need to sink your early points into. Making sure every character cannot miss without status changes is self-explanatory, especially when you have such limited ammo. If I wanted to miss all of my shots and lose pathetically, I would hire the Russian military. Despite this, accuracy statistics do not seem to apply to female characters, and will use the power of their desired matriarchy to miss every shot I deem important and then die due to a pathetic amount of hit points lower than any other characters. If you get hit, you get a counter-attack check based on percentage. If it's a positive, you get a free reaction attack with whatever you're holding, either guns, melee, healing items, or useless garbage like matches. There are 8 characters in the game, and because of how they aren't really specialized except for McFadden and Medusa, you can morph them into anything you want by handing them certain weapons to build up skills on and min-maxing something like HP or luck. Just be careful with Hutchins specifically, as her specialized skill seems to be what I like to call professional woman moments. When it comes to weapons, there's no shortage either. What there is a shortage of is ammunition, and you will enjoy scouring the map for brown boxes containing your stimulus check, or you will spend several hours being constantly dicked on because you missed one box that was blending into the floor on the other side of the level behind 7 mutants and a boss. So, to survive, you must follow the Romani code: steal everything or die to everyone. Because of this, melee weapons and rechargeables are indispensable. You get a flamethrower straight off the bat as well as 2 melee weapons, which you will have maxed out by the end of the game. Rechargeables are mainly based on status effects, so while they are extremely powerful and can be the difference between a supreme victory or a ball-crushing defeat, using a flamethrower on a monster resistant to fire, or a taser on a creature resistant to tranquilization, then you better hope you walked right up that mutant's nostrils with a backup plan or a script to beg for your life. You aren't exactly scrounging around for explosives either. Grenades, stun grenades, napalm launchers, rocket launchers, and vodka are all extremely dangerous weapons that are likely left behind by a Polish civilian who forgot their minority survival set. That is not to say the bullet weapons are bad, they work good consistent damage and no creature is resistant to a couple showers of lead rain. But, being Poland, valuables have a tendency to disappear quickly, and you would be better off with a secondary weapon or 2 in order to finish the job. Easily the most useful of the status weapons is the taser and the tranq gun. In any other game, these would be relegated to the back of the inventory and would not come out due to their overwhelming power and undeniable strength. Why use your overpowered trump card when diplomacy and reason are available? But in Gorky 17, the tankiest, strongest bosses in the game turn into decrepit, wrinkly Alzheimer's patients who forget what they were about to do for 3 turns straight, snap back to reality, and then get stunned again because the recharge time for stun weapons like the taser is 4 turns. Additionally, status effects stack, so if you have some poison grenades handy, use my personal favorite combo. It is extremely effective, as the combination of gas and fire is a Pole's natural weakness. Now when it comes to game balance, there's an infinite range ion cannon that goes 2 directions and one-shots a lot of the basic enemies, except that by the time you get it, most of them are immune to the energy damage it puts out. You also get Barack Obama on speed dial, a Slavic-style pothole recreation device, and a fucking hammer of dawn. I didn't use the defend button once. Because of this, the game is not that hard. You do get overwhelmed quickly in the early and mid game, and you are going to begin turn 1 cursing at the developers for slapping you with 4 tranquilizer monsters and 2 freeze monsters that make a Super Saiyan soft lock combo, or 7 Russian cum-rags with infinite rifle range and the uncanny ability to escape your maximum firing range every single turn. But for most fights it becomes easier to handle the longer it goes on, and sometimes you reload and play the fight again to try and save some extra ammo. The only thing that will throw you off is the lose conditions. If even one character's HP reaches 0, it's over faster than the Moldovian's hangover, and you have to do the whole combat again. Protection gigs are just as bad. Things you need to defend, like very squishy monitors, friendly mutants, or civilians who just spent the last couple of weeks dicking around and jerking off in a corner waiting to get their cervix ripped out of their ass while pissing me off with unbearably bad accents, are going to be some of the toughest fights in the game.
Wow, look at this place. To think I nearly skipped this assignment, a silly travel story, and instead, I'm chasing a Pulitzer. My alumni mag is gonna hear about this one.
You've got quite a big mouth for someone who almost died a minute ago.
Even then, it's not impossible or requires grinding, so you'll never feel underleveled or outmatched despite it making you think you are. Except for one section which is undoubtedly the hardest part in the entire game, though not in the conventional sense. The lab. First fight, right before the game's end boss. Kill the 2 reverends first, then you're onto the hard part. You need to kill the 2 incubuses in the same turn. otherwise the game will crash, and you'll have to restart from the latest save point. By itself, this is a pain in the ass, but doable. But incubuses are a very special enemy. An incubus throws a ball of energy onto the map. It has a 3x3 explosion radius and takes one turn to ramp up before exploding the next turn. It does 50 to 70 damage at a time, and not only are incubuses immune to tranquilizers, but they also have 2 turns in one. So, they move around the map at the speed of light and can fire 2 balls at once. And because of Gorky 17's flawless enemy AI combat, you may get unlucky enough to lower an incubus to low enough health, then focus on the other so you can wipe them out both in that single turn, only for the other incubus to walk directly into its own energy ball and kill itself before you have a chance to kill the other. The game then crashes and you have to start again. This happened 3 times, and every time an incubus offs itself with a one-shot attack, while the other one has 70 left, you are going to hit the desk with your face until it morphs into something good looking in comparison to the elephant's foot. Once you get past that inconvenience, you then come face to face with some douchebags who say they're from a place called NATO? Must be Germans. Obliterate with extreme prejudice. But don't worry, you may have a maximum range for your ballistic weapons, but every soldier in the enemy group is the White Death with ACOG scopes. After that, you spend the next 10 minutes being raped by invisible scorpion people, who poison you and have resistances to every status effect in the game. So when you eventually trudge your way to the final boss, it's kinda disappointing to see it go out like the GDP of Albania. This is because the final boss is not resistant to tranquilizers, so that was a fucking wash. Gorky 17 boasts a super abrupt climax with a questionable final dialogue explaining the single dumbest plot twist I've ever seen through a 5-minute wall of text. And then, a 6-minute long dialogue between you and someone who lived way too long for being set on fire and shot with several lethal doses of horse tranquilizer bullshitting the entire plot of the game. After he finally dies, it cuts to a low quality Mexican flavored ending cinematic and the game's over. Fucking brilliant. As established, items are rare and difficult to get, so you have to be as conservative as possible in order to maximize your chances of survival. If all you have left in your inventory is a baseball bat and you're going up against a missile-chucking hunk of metal with heavy armor, you're going to have a bad time. That is why it is especially important to know when certain characters die. You only have 5 slots and 8 characters, no swapping allowed. When a character dies out of combat, all their items die with them. The deaths are scripted, sudden, and make you wonder why you leveled up that character in the first place. So, as a favor to you, the main 3 guys don't die during the campaign, so it's best to keep all your best items with them. Graphically, the game looks pretty okay for an Eastern European turn-of-the-century title, but nothing to write home about. The animation is minimal, the landscapes and level design could be worse, the character designs are dated but not exactly awful, and aesthetically looks not different to an average city in Eastern Europe. The voice acting is pretty and the music consists of about 3 tracks. The game is very short. It doesn't overstay its welcome and only has like 6 levels and 40 something combats. You're not exactly playing Wizardry or Pathfinder here. It can be wrapped up in 11 hours or so, which is way too short for an RPG but acceptable length for a shooter or something. Gorky 17 has an XCOM-y feel to it, but without any complexities or depth. Despite its simplicity, it is somewhat of a niche. Not many RPG lovers are going to like something this simple and one note, and your average strategic grid-based combat fan has better options with more unique and in-depth mechanics. To be honest, calling this game an RPG is a little generous, but it's a solid title if you want to get started with the turn-based grid-like combat system and to prepare you for the gateway of countless post-Iron Curtain titles that you suddenly badly want to buy. All in all, a small palate cleanser that enters your mind and leaves it just as fast. Gorky 17 may not be a masterpiece, but it does what's expected of it and doesn't look back. But if you think a game appeals to you or you just want to give it a shot, it's absurdly cheap, especially at a discount or an even bigger discount. I give Gorky 17 an Albanian out of whatever your nationality is, because as much as I enjoy shitting on other Eastern European ethno-states, I'm not going to lose all of my personal belongings over it. I feel like I'm getting the hang of this type of video, so more autism to come. Thank you, and see you later.